Well, grand risings to you all. I happened to run across a video, and my friend, or another friend of mine from uh, YouTube, actually ran across this same person being very negative, and it was when I was a guest on Lance Scurve's show. I know a lot of people are very familiar with him, but he is a YouTube um, person who has been around for a while. And he asked me to be a guest on the show after coming on his platform. He has a platform that they had a show every Sunday. Every Sunday they did a call-in show online over uh, the internet. They did the YouTube video, but when getting everything set up, for weeks I have been visiting his Sunday show call-in line, and a lot of the information I shared, he thought he wanted me to go ahead and have it talked about on his show. So when I did go ahead to do that, after this long video we did, what they ended up doing was taking my information, and he made three different videos. He had two guys make videos off of part of the information, and then he had a lady use part of the information to make another video. So it was real strange. But what I'm going to do is, if you're interested, play this for you guys so you can actually hear the actual video, because for some reason he's actually even took it from the public after he did all that. It's just real weird, but I call it agent behavior.
Brain did after doing so many shows. So we have the host of Melanated Mondays. I want you to introduce yourself first. And our next guest, we're going to chop it up about all things mystical, all things metaphysical. We have some products here that we want to share. We have another show that we want to help promote. We just want to speak on concepts. The lines will be open later on when they are ready. We're going to have them put their truth down. So anyway, introduce yourself first. Well, let's flip a coin, right? Introduce yourselves and let's roll with this conversation because I know it's going to be excellent.
Yes, hi, it's Andrea, and I am the host of Melanated Mondays. And I'm on your radio Monday mornings at 10 a.m. And that show is a part of Bragg Radio 1. And currently, I do have a host of holistic products, and they're at AK Randall's, Randles, Natural Nature. And you can find the products there and, feel a little bit about it. We'll talk throughout the show a little bit about the products, and we talk about other things, and I'll go ahead and let the other lady introduce herself. Okay, hello to everybody. My name is Amaria the Seer, and I'm very happy to be here today. Um, I have a host of things to share with you all regarding mind, body, spirit, finances, and community. My profession is as a mental health therapist, marriage and family therapy. But I also am a spiritualist, a justified worker, and I just have a big heart for my people. And that's all I'm going to say for now.
Excellent, excellent. Wow. A couple of things I didn't know about the both of you here. So I'm pleasantly surprised. So this is really divine intervention that because we were going to do basically separate live streams and conversations, but this worked out better because I think the energy is going to be synergistic. And the reason why I have the banner up, I'm here, and this is a live show, but I'm looking a little tired right about now. So I said, let me just give a little interesting picture and share it up there while we get on with the conversation. But do know that we will be opening up the lines eventually. We're going to play that by ear. There's no limitation here. And let's just flow. Where do we start? I mean, okay, let's just break this down. We're saying, metaphysically speaking, somebody who has no clue about that. I want the both of you bounce back and forth, um, and just speak. What did he mean by metaphysical? And what did he mean by melanated? You know, they're into spirituality, these healing products. These black women, they're just talking this craziness now. I don't understand it. I'm not saying that, but you know how people say that. So just explain, bring us from not knowing for those who don't know, who like are sitting in the back of the class and got a dumb look on their face, bring them up to par, you know. And we got some serious I don't know, we got some noise going on. Yeah, so if you oh no problem, no problem. Just if you make a little noise, just mute your phone. You know what I mean? No problem. But just stay with us. But yeah, bring us up to par from your experience on all things metaphysical, what that means pretty much in that world that many people misunderstand. They say it's something bad. You shouldn't be messing with those things. And what is that? You just go to church. You know what I mean? You don't need to be bothered with that. Mm-hmm. Even though we are spirit beings having a human experience, bring us up to par on that and let's just flow. And I'm going to mute myself because I'm going to be taking notes.
Well, for me, metaphysical simply means beyond the physical. It's beyond your regular senses, you know, sense of smell, sense of sight, taste, touch, hearing. It's beyond that into a realm that you would have to sense, like with your heart or with your third eye. It's of all things spiritual. But I'm sure it's more than that. Maybe the sister can add something, but for me, that's the gist of what it is.
Yes. And with that, I'll add that basically metaphysical is kind of pertaining to or things that have to do with nature of the philosophy, things that are concerned with like abstract thought and thinking on like certain subjects as like the existence, the casuality, or the truth when it comes to things concerned with first principles and the ultimate grounds as being time or substance when it comes to certain particulars. When it comes to like health and nature, it's very important to think about metaphysical things because those things can affect your health. You know, if you're, you know, thinking on a metaphysical level, they can actually affect the things that are inside of your body as far as like molecules and the molecular structure of a melanated body. When we say the melanated body, does have to do with metaphysical in itself because the melanated body is a chemical I guess, you know, it's related to it as far as the atoms. And when you're thinking about metaphysical, you're thinking about things as far as like the atmosphere, your spiritual nature, God, you know, whatever, you know, people call different things. But, you know, when you're thinking anything in that nature, your conscious mind, as he said, your third eye, which when people say the third eye, a lot of people will say the third eye, but they don't really know what that is. That's actually your pineal gland that has a lot to do with your conscious thinking. And if your pineal gland is not activated or if it's not being used and thrived upon, it will shrivel up like a little raisin. And the other thing that can affect that is the chemicals and things that are in the air, the water, the foods that we eat. Those things actually manipulate your body molecular structure, and it actually drives out the pineal gland. It's geared to do that. The fluoride in the water, you know, things that are specifically designed to manipulate the DNA and the structure of the melanated body. So when you think about metaphysical, it has a lot to do with, you know, everything that's like the spirit, you know, your conscious, your thinking, your thought process, you know, all those type of things.
And then in regards to melanated, I'm speaking of all of our brothers and sisters of color. Of course, you know, those are the diaspora from, you know, the Atlantic slave trade and all of that. We're more so called Black people. You know, we've had different names over the different decades. And now I guess the most popular thing to call us is melanated. And so that's who I'm speaking of when I refer to my melanated brothers and sisters. And I do believe that we are still connected to the original inhabitants of Africa, those that are born and raised in Africa, um, that were not taken from there during the slave trade. I believe that we're still connected to them as well. So they're also my melanated brothers and sisters in Africa and throughout all of where we were dispersed through.
Well, on that, if I can add, when it comes to the melanin, it's not only, it is that in the sense of like our brothers and sisters, exactly, but more in the sense of the chemical of the melanin only being in us, the chemicals and how it reacts to certain things in nature versus a body that does not, and that has a lot to do, with like, with what we're eating, what we're doing to our body can change like the certain the structure of our DNA. Your DNA actually carries information just like a computer, so that computerized information in your cells that are your DNA strands, that's actually like your ancestors' DNA from your grandmother, great grandmother, so on. So when that comes down through your genes and everything, that information is transmitted as well through you, through your melanin, because melanin actually is a molecule that absorbs sunlight, ultraviolet rays, it absorbs light waves, it absorbs sound waves. People don't even know how important melanin is. It's just basically a spirit molecule. Is kind of what I consider it as, because it's like basically everything that can either bring either good things or it can attract to you, or it can absorb negative things as well. And when it does that, when your melanin absorbs those things, it can make transformations not only in your DNA and your structure and in your body, but also in your conscious mind, your thinking, and in your pineal gland, even giving you false realities, making you think things that aren't true or incorrect. And this is how a lot of people have these mental illnesses that have come on in the last couple of decades. There's always been mental illnesses, but if you notice over the last few decades, it's been like tremendous. It's about 50 different ones now with different titles and names, and it's all something related to the brain. And there's neurological issues going on because of the chemicals and things that are going on in people's bodies and affecting, and our melanin is actually being targeted, and as it's being targeted, making those changes is affecting our brain, because our brain is not reacting to it because it's not natural. We're a natural body. So that's the real importance of the melanin.
And most people, they just try to get a diagnosis. They don't try to figure out why I have this illness or why I have this disease. Just like you said, they're targeting us. Okay, it's the big picture is called population control. Okay, right now there are more people than there are resources. It's going to be nothing but worse and worse and worse if they don't do something about it. So they're trying to kill off so many of us, and in doing so, they're introducing, like you say, different diseases, different sicknesses, and things like that through the air, the water, the food. It's everywhere. So we really have to try to eat as healthy as possible. All of these processed foods, we need to stop it. There's nothing but chemicals that we're putting into our bodies, and that's not healthy for us. If you're smoking, you need to stop. Water, we have to check our water and see what kind of chemicals are in our water. We already know fluoride is not good for us. If you didn't know, now you know.
Okay, we know this, Amir. Trying to get to the portion of information.
It could be if you're growing it yourself. You got some natural seeds, and you're growing some natural regular
Talking about
marijuana.
someone
maybe you
asked,
get somebody to get you some from Jamaica somewhere. You might get some natural weed.
They said that marijuana is not safe anymore.
Natural,
they have modified it, which is true.
Healthy
weed gives you energy. The clinical ones slow you down and make you want to eat pastries, candy, and etc. It attacks your body. It makes your body attack sugar.
It's not safe at all. And what you understand, this is sorry, sweetheart, when you were saying something earlier, and I read this earlier about the prokaryotic cells, which are like the black male organs and cells that we have. This is basically a cell that's like 3.9 billion, not million, but with a B, 3.9 billion years old. It's a black genetic cell. Okay, so it's been around for that long, as far as how far it goes back. Now, with this particular cell, this same cell, right, is found in plants. So with a plant, it has particular cell, which is a prokaryote cell. I'm sorry, I can't pronounce it. It's
It's
PROKATYOTE.
prokaryotic cells. Prokaryotic cells.
And basically, what happens is with this particular cell, it's a biological state that's created in plants, and it's a blend of it. It's a cell that doesn't have nucleus, like our particular cells, the black man cell, black woman cell, the prokaryotic cell, which is a little different. It's a PROKARYOTIC. That cell is the human black cell that goes back to 3.9 billion years. Now, they have a very similar structure, those particular cells. So we have a plant-based body. Our body structure is molecularly fit to intake the energy because it's the same photosynthesis that's used from the sun that gives the energy to the plant that gives it.
Now, at this point, guys, I didn't go too deep, but since we discussed it, or at least if you've listened to my show, you're familiar with everything as far as the prokaryotic cells that I'm speaking about, the energy, the flow of energy, light energy actually is the orgone energy, that orgone energy that's distributed through the atmosphere from the sun's energy in the plasma that exudes from its end. So
To us, it's the same thing. So when we take in like the vegetables and the plant life and the herbs and things, those particular plants and things give us the energy because those cells match our cells. It's like,
it's the same light. So if you're pulling in the same light of a light, then that light will just get stronger instead of diminishing. It brings more electricity and buoyancy to different cells and your system, enabling it to cleanse itself and produce more light into the body in the system, sending electronic shock waves via the melanin and the orgone energy to the weakened areas to cause the health to be increased by giving it more light.
taking a piece of me in, you know what I'm saying? Versus that meat, like you were saying earlier. I'm sorry, that's why I got distracted because when you said that, it made me think of this and I had to pull it up. So that is so very important for people to understand because when you understand that, hey, this is part of me, of course, this is going to help me and benefit me and it's going to make me better versus what's not. When I started my health product, my daughter was having ear infections, and this is how I created this oil that I have. And at that time, I started looking into so many other things health wise. And what I found was that with our bodies and the way that we are nature, basically, you know,
We are basically the universe, which rather quickly, when you look at the description of universe, we do match the universe. You being uranium and uracil, which are components and minerals that produce nuclear energy, power energy, which is also orgone energy. So there is the U and then Ni. Ni is water. It's talking about water, which is the flow and everything of water in basis. And then when we're talking about verse, verse means energy in motion, basically. When something is put in motion or it is put into a particular point. So it would be energy, water moving in motion, which is what our body does. Our body is about 78% water. All the energy circulates and moves within or resonates within our body. Our body's fluid actually helps with the flow in our arteries and in our veins and within our system of everything that's keeping it in a balance so that when we are experiencing these things, we are clarifying ourselves, cleansing ourselves, aligning things in the proper way to get the right balance to actually produce the excretion of gas crystal aspect in the mindset, which gives you that Christ or crystal spirit. Once the plasma in the blood is heated and vibrates to a certain energy level, the organ energy is penetrated. Therefore, the plasma in the blood starts to crystallize, forming certain light energy from the photons in a gas aspect that reaches the crown of the head, which is the crown chakra. As it reaches the crown chakra, the opening, which would have been your um, the little hole at the top of the head when the baby is born, the soft spot that you have to be very careful of, it actually closes, but not totally, because there is the emission of the gas that releases from the body to actually enclose around your body like a shield, like a protective shield, which is your aura, the AURA. If you've heard about the aura is a protective shield of energy, high vibrational energy that is the organ energy protection field around your body to encase it and keep it from certain entities when it comes to the light.
I had to choose a lot of different things, so I made a life change at that time. And I've lost like 150 something pounds in just doing that. I didn't go on any type of diet. I haven't been, running around the gym, any of that. And I'm perfectly fine at this point. And that all came from over like an 8 year time, slowly coming down just from eating the correct things into my body and not taking the things in that I shouldn't. Seafood is another thing. I used to love seafood, crab, shrimp. Oh my gosh. And now when I think of it, I cringe. What they eat, the things they take in, and I was eating so much of that stuff over years. It's disgusting. The same thing with cows and pigs. These things are disgusting, and you're putting this stuff in your body. They eat any and everything. Chickens as well. Chickens eat any everything. They're just like a pig. They eat anything as long as they can, get into their mouth and chew it up. They swallow it.
We went to talking about a couple of things as we went into the meat. I'm going to fast forward a little bit, but something very important to understand when it comes to the meat is the adrenochrome. The adrenochrome is the effect of in the blood, which is actually the fear that arises in an animal when they're about to be slaughtered. The same fear that a person has when they take flight, the adrenaline that we have in our body, the adrenochrome is within the bloodstream. So when the animals are afraid, it gets heightened. In this particular heightened aspect of the adrenochrome in their system from being frightened or scared because they know they're going to be slaughtered is a certain uh, chemical reaction that enters the blood only during this time. So when the animals are slaughtered, they obviously have a high content of the adrenochrome within their blood system. That chemical is in the meat. So when you're eating the meat, you're actually absorbing or taking in the adrenochrome. This is done by certain organizations with certain rituals where they're actually consuming human blood. It might sound crazy or strange, but it's a fact. The reason for that is the adrenochrome. They've practiced this in many times since like early century times. The drinking of blood, and a reason when a person is sacrificed, of course, the fear of knowing they're dying, the adrenochrome, the adrenochrome within their body is actually raised to the same extent. So they believe that they will get certain energies and they will be able to remain young by consuming or drinking the blood. I'm going to make sure we're at a next area we can go on and discuss and give me actually about 30 seconds.
The
And rather quickly, I also wanted to add about that. When it comes to that, another thing that the meat does It prohibits the natural reaction of the amino acids into the brain flow. So what happens is with the adrenochrome, and once it enters into your bloodstream, there's certain blockages that it prohibits the natural function of the brain with its cognitive issues. It prohibits that by blocking certain amino acids to the correct flow and the neutrinos and the proteins that it produces to the brain that actually helps to form our waveform information, which is the reality that we see, the reality that we know, and our internal system. So there's about 64 amino acids. If you are having any blockages, any of those 64 amino acids can be actually diminished to about 20. So if you're only getting 20, that's less than a third, we'd say nearly a quarter of your amino acids being produced. When there's things going on within, or a person is doing things for themselves to think in a way that might be beneficial or put them in a positive aspect, they can't do that because the amino acids are blocked. So their cognitive dissonance is off. When the cognitive dissonance is off, a person is not able to think clearly. They're irrational in their mind due to the infrequent flow of the amino acids. So give me a second, guys. Keep fast forward, and I don't want to hold you guys too long, but let's go from here, going into
So
the
if
nanobites.
your emotion is taking over you and you can't control it, then what's going to happen is it's going to be like, going out of control. It's just all over the place. You don't know how to contain it, so on and so forth.
Talking
So
about
until you can do
emotions,
that, you won't be able to.
energy and motion that we're not able to. This is
Feeling
Miss
in your
Amir
body, so
Desir.
it's attacking the area.
She was also a
It doesn't.
guest.
It can't find anything, so it's attacking the actual body itself. And again, I can see these.
All the things that are affected. You're right with that because, like, when it comes to like the emotions again and being happy, right? If a person is very happy, right, the cells in their body are more condensed. So when a person is unhappy, the cells are less condensed. So
This guy, I just wanted to mention when it comes to fluoride, that's why you shouldn't drink a lot of tap water. You should be using non-fluorinated toothpaste, anything that has fluoride in it, try to prohibit it because what it does is it gives certain toxins to the amino gland as well, and it's very hazardous. Fluoride is a neurotoxin. So what it does is contaminate the neurons. So when you think about fluoride, calcifying it or hardening it and taking it from being natural, it's very harsh and it's hazardous to the thyroid gland. If you're a person that has thyroid issues, definitely eliminate the use of fluoride wherever it is because they're spraying it in the air. So it's that actually in the air with the aluminum and things of that nature.
with that